Prayer with Timothy M. Williams, Witness God Through Prayer and My Testimony. Written by Timothy M. Williams. Narrated by Padrika Gray. The Record of Jesus' Prayer. The records of Jesus' prayer constitute a priceless document of one perfect being expressing himself to another. Though Jesus must have been involved in prayer all the time, all we have in the Bible is 6 prayers of Jesus. There are 3 kinds of prayers, and we know for sure that the mortal Jesus was involved in 2 of them. The 3 types of prayers were A. Personal prayers offered by an individual, B. Public prayers where one person acts as the voice of the group, and C. Set prayers. We were taught how to pray in public, and we know that prayer as the Lord's Prayer. Lead us not into temptation. Give us this day our daily bread, etc. are giveaways that it is a public prayer. There is not one single mention of first person showing that it is indeed a public prayer. But we will not look at the public prayers of Jesus in this book. We need testaments to the history of man as much as personal prayer. Prayers God answers for a friend. We shall look at the 2 privately uttered prayers that we have in writing. We do have a couple private prayers that were uttered in public, but we must consider them as teachings of the crowds. The 2 genuinely personal prayers that we have access to are his intercessory prayer offered shortly before he entered into the Garden of Gethsemane, and his heartrending plea to his Father that the cup, if possible, would pass him by. The intercessory prayer we appear to have in its fullness, but Jesus' prayer in Gethsemane must be but a fragment of the entire prayer. Remember that there was time enough for the disciples to fall asleep. Why do we have one prayer from A to Z and only a fragment of the other prayer? In order to answer that question, there is one thing we must realize. Since Jesus was all alone when he offered up these 2 prayers, there was no one present to record them for inclusion in our scriptures. If no one was present to record the prayers, how come we still have them today? In order for us to have access to these 2 prayers of Jesus today, God must have revealed the content of them to someone who was worthy to view these holy moments and who could be trusted to accurately record the occurrences. No doubt, this trusted man was a prophet, seer, and revelator. This prophet was obviously permitted to view and record the entire intercessory prayer of the Lord and recorded it to our benefit. The content of this prayer is doctrinally important, since it declares how the Father and the Son are one, and that every believer can become one in the exact same way. There is no room for a dissection of the entire prayer in this book, but it can be found in John chapter 17, verses 1 through 26. Is prayer really talking to God? Jesus starts the parable by asking, "Which of you shall have a friend, and go to him at midnight and say to him, 'Friend, lend me 3 loaves, for a friend of mine has come to me on his journey, and I have nothing to set before him.' And he will answer from within and say, 'Do not trouble me. The door is now shut, and my children are with me in bed. I cannot rise to give to you.'" Luke 11:5 through 7. Have you ever been down this road? Has family and friends left you out in the cold? Have you been so low you had no place to go? I think we all can agree. One of these questions applies to me. I can remember feeling all alone, broken into pieces, with despair over my friends. It was at that time, midnight, I arose, fell to my knees, crying, it is I, Lord, calling to you. Hear my call, hear my cry. Have mercy on me, O Lord, have mercy."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?